Hi, so I'm Emma-Louise and today I'm going to be talking you through planning a home birth. I'm currently 31 weeks pregnant with my third baby, and for this pregnancy I've decided I want to have a home birth. For my first, I actually had my baby in a hospital, maternity hospital. My second I had in a birthing unit. So I've been fortunate enough to experience both of those options, and now I'm looking to experience a home birth for my third and what is probably my final baby. So what to consider if you are looking at having a home birth, and the things that I obviously considered myself were, are there any previous complications from previous babies that you might have had, and also are there any risk factors involved. So for me, as I mentioned, I had my first in hospital, and that was because he was induced, but the reason he was induced is because my waters broke and I didn't have any contractions start. So after a certain amount of time it is advisable that you go into hospital and you are induced, because there can be a risk factor once your waters have gone. So it wasn't a complication as such, and the fact that I had him in hospital and I was induced doesn't affect my my labours afterwards. So with my daughter, I chose to have her in a home birth unit, and that was a very straightforward labour as well. So I have been lucky not to have any complications with my previous babies, but obviously if you have, that is something to consider when looking at having a home birth, as sometimes they would prefer you to be in a hospital environment if that is the case. Risk factors, obviously, there are medical kind of issues that can come up in pregnancy, such as obviously gestational diabetes and things like that. I've been fortunate not to have anything, cross my fingers, that has caused any problems for having a home birth, but there are risk factors sometimes involved in pregnancy, and it's worth weighing up the pros and cons. Another thing to consider is obviously what you prefer when it comes to labour. I mean, if you've had one before, you might have some feelings towards which kind of environment you prefer to be in. If it's your first baby, you might not have experience of it, but you still might know the kind of birth that you're looking for. So if you're somebody who's quite happy to be in a medical environment, who's quite happy to be in hospital and would feel more comfortable around doctors and obviously all the equipment and state-of-the-art things that they have in hospitals, then a hospital might be more for you. If you're somebody like me, who I've got obviously anxiety and depression, and I hate hospitals, I get very worked up when I'm in a hospital, so for me I prefer to have somewhere that's less of a medical environment, which is why home birth is something that's really attractive to me, because I can be in my own comfortable home environment, and I wouldn't panic initially, because obviously I'm going to be somewhere that's calming to me. The other thing to consider obviously is your planned pain relief during labour. So for example, if you're thinking, oh, I definitely want an epidural, home birth isn't for you, because you generally can't have an epidural obviously at home. You need to be where the doctor is able to administer that. So for you it might be better to be in a hospital environment. If you, like me, would kind of be looking at having pethidine, something that I had in my first two labours, again it depends on the area, as some areas are able to administer that during a home birth, but my area isn't. So it was something that I had to consider and kind of weigh up whether I wanted to go into a hospital environment just to have that pethidine, or if I wanted to try without it at home. And ultimately I decided that, you know, I can do it without the pethidine, and I would like to be at home. So in terms of my pain relief, I'm planning on having gas and air, which I've had with both of the others. I know that some people don't like the sensation of gas and air, it can make you feel a bit woozy and a bit out of it, but for me, I love the stuff when I'm in labour. I feel that it really does help calm me down, and I'm looking forward to obviously birthing again with the gas and air. So benefits of having a home birth. Basically, the main benefit that I consider a benefit is the calm environment. Like I said, I don't like hospitals at all. It's a really, really nice feeling to be able to be in your own home environment and to feel comfortable and confident, and to be able to have your home kind of bits and bobs around you. So if I wanted something, I know that it's here and I know that I can have it, and I don't have to panic about packing everything, every little thing that I might want or need into a hospital bag. I am one of these people who find it hard to travel light, and when it comes to my hospital bag, in the past it's been packed full of stuff because I'm thinking of every kind of eventuality. And to be honest, although I will have a backup hospital bag just in case I do need to be transferred, or after the birth if I need to go into hospital for any reason, I will have that ready. It will be nice to be able to have additional things that I might want, that I might not kind of anticipate, and to be able to have those to hand. As well as having a calming environment, it is great to have the one-to-one care that you kind of get with the home birth. I know that care kind of differs from different parts of the UK. I'm on some chat rooms and kind of Facebook groups regarding home birth, and I have seen that there are different kind of ways that the teams go about home birth. I'm fortunate enough to be in an area of the country with a brilliant home birth team. So from when I first kind of had maternity care for this baby, I said I was interested in home birth, and so I was put onto the home birth team, and all of my midwife appointments have been at my home. I've got to know my midwife, she's come along, she's had other people with her at different times, student midwives, new midwives, and other existing midwives have come along with her, but I've always kind of seen the same midwife throughout my care, which is really good, as it kind of helps you build a relationship with them, and you get to trust them, and obviously she will hopefully be there for the labour, so it's nice to have somebody who you feel that you've formed a relationship and a bond with when you're giving birth. So that's something that really does differ between having a hospital birth and having a home birth. With my previous babies, I've never really felt that I've got that real good bond with a midwife, and obviously then when I went into labour, I just had whoever was on duty at the hospital or maternity unit. The other thing to consider as well is that at a hospital or maternity unit, you don't necessarily have a midwife with you constantly. They will need to go out of the room at certain points, and you're not always going to have somebody in that room with you. At least in my experience, I've sometimes been left alone, obviously with my birth partners, but I haven't had a midwife in the room, and that can be something that people would feel a bit uncomfortable with. I didn't really mind, especially with my second, because I knew kind of what I was doing. But it is nice to know that I will have two midwives with me when I go into labour, and they'll stay with me throughout my labour. They'll be there for me, and they'll be able to have that guidance and support throughout my whole birth. So that's something I'm really happy about as planning a home birth. So yeah, again, home births give you quite good one-to-one care. So I've got a midwife, as I've mentioned, who I've seen all throughout my pregnancy, and I'll continue seeing her up until when the baby's due, and then hopefully she will be able to come out for my birth as well. The other good thing about having a home birth is that you can be at home as soon as the baby is obviously there. If you have a hospital or a maternity-led care unit birth, you might not be able to go straight home. Obviously they can't stop you from walking out of a hospital or maternity unit, but once you're in an environment like that, sometimes they'd advise you to stay in. And I know that with my son, I had him at 1:30 in the morning, and then about an hour afterwards, my mum and my friend who were with me for that birth, they had to go, and I had to go onto the ward and go to bed, and I didn't feel very confident or happy being left alone. Obviously there's other mothers there, obviously I had my baby, and obviously there were midwives around, but I would rather have those people who are close to me. When it came to my second baby in the maternity unit, most probably because I'd had a very hassle-free birth, and also it was my second baby, I was able to go within a few hours of having her. I think I had her about 4:30 in the morning, and by 8:30 I was leaving the hospital, the birth unit, sorry. But obviously with a home birth, you're already at home, and as long as there haven't been any complications in your birth or afterwards, then you're able to stay at home. and I'm really looking forward to that, and to be able to obviously just go to bed and have a nice little nap with my newborn baby, to get a takeaway if it happens in the evening, and to just chill out in front of the TV with my family and my newborn baby. So that's something to really consider as well. With a home birth, you'll obviously already be at home, and you'll be able to just kind of ease back into family life with your new addition. So something else to consider is if you are having a baby and you already have children already. So as I've mentioned, I've got 2 children already, Cameron and Carly, and therefore planning a home birth, as most of my labours tend to happen at night, I'm hoping that they will be able to be in bed. My mum's going to come round if it is at night and look after them, and just make sure that if they do get up, obviously they can go to her, and she can look after them rather than me trying to look after them when I'm in labour. But I really do like the fact that even if whatever time of day it happens, they will be able to be involved. I won't be kind of stuck to visiting times at a hospital, for example, of when they can come and meet their baby brother. They'll be able to be there right away. They'll be able to see him as soon as he's born, and we'll all be able to be a family from the start. And also, because my mum has been there for the other births, I really like the fact that she will be able to be around. Even if she's helping with the children, she'll still be able to be around and see the baby immediately as well. So my home birth checklist, I am actually planning to have a water birth at home. You might not be. It might not be something you're planning. You might be just having a dry birth, as it's called, like dry land birth. But for me, I'm going to be looking into hiring a birth pool in the next few weeks. So I'll need some liners for that as well. And obviously they usually come when you hire them with a hose as well. So I need to make sure that the hose is long enough to reach from our bathroom or kitchen, where the water supply obviously is, to the lounge where I'm planning the birth to be. Shower curtains, I've been told, get some cheap big shower curtains and just put those all over the floor to protect the carpets, regardless of whether it's a water birth or if it's a dry land birth. That's obviously something worth having. Old towels as well, so I'm going to stock up on some nice new towels and then use the ones we've got already, just to put about the place, and obviously use if needed, without worrying about the fact that they'll get ruined. Battery powered tea lights, I might be getting some of those, or otherwise some fairy lights to put up around the room, just to make a really nice calming atmosphere. Obviously using gas and air, I'm not able to have naked flames, so I can't have real candles, but you can still kind of get that ambience from the fake candles. Essential oils as well, my midwife has suggested, especially frankincense, to help with the kind of transition period when you feel like you can't cope in labour just before you have the baby. She said that's a really nice calming essential oil to use, so I might be looking into getting some essential oils to help calm me down, but I think the midwives also bring along things like that as well. Friends on TV, I have got the box set, but it's always on TV anyway, so I'll be making sure that I've got some episodes recorded for Friends, so that I can watch that, because that basically calms me down regardless. Like when I'm feeling down, I always put on some Friends and it cheers me up, so I'm hoping that during labour I can kind of relax a bit and just chill out and watch some episodes of Friends on the TV. Snacks is really important, especially in earlier on in labour, so I just get some snacks ready and waiting for when I'm in labour, and obviously for Ed as well, because he's going to be there as my birth partner, so he can have some snacks as well ready. But another good thing about obviously being at home is that the kitchen's always there as well, so we can have plenty of food if I'm fancying something. Often you don't actually get that hungry during labour, but it's good to nibble on something to kind of keep your energy levels up. And similarly, water, I have nice lots of bottles of water. I am a bit of a water snob. I don't drink tap water generally, so I have nice bottles of mineral water around as well, for during the labour. And probably stock up the freezer with some ice as well, some ice cubes, so that I can cool myself down if I need to, and some damp flannels and stuff as well, not just because I have my weird craving for them. I don't know if you come across that before if you have had some strange cravings, but I do actually crave the smell of damp flannels, which is really odd, but it was not for that reason. I mentioned it as obviously again to kind of cool me down and if I'm feeling a bit hot and bothered during labour. So yeah, thank you for watching my video on planning a home birth. I hope it's been really interesting for you if you are planning a home birth yourself, or if it's something you might consider in the future. And as always, check out the links in the information below. Make sure you subscribe to the In Real Life channel, and I hope you enjoy the next video that will be coming up on here, and also my next video when I come along as well. So thanks again for watching. Bye!